Hello and welcome to Across the Desk. My name is Elizabeth Plouffe and I'm your host of Across the Desk. I'm here today back in partnership with MentorAbility Ontario to highlight some of the successful matches that have been made through the MentorAbility Ontario program. And my guests today are Brittany Williston. Brittany's going to say hi.
Hi. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good. And Brittany is with Performance Plus Rehabilitative Care Incorporated, and that's out in Ottawa.
Yes.
I just came back from Ottawa on Sunday. Nice. Rain like the dickens though out there.
Yes, and even though still, and I mean, pre-COVID, we did have 3 separate offices that we staffed in order to service Ottawa proper, as well as out into Pembroke, Renfrew, Cornwall, and the outlying counties.
Yeah.
So yes, we cover Ottawa as a catchment area.
And Ottawa is quite a large. We were out in the Renfrew Braeside area, so it's huge. It's huge. I'm also welcoming Kim Cooper, who is the founder of Youth Culture.
Hi, Elizabeth.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to talk today. I'm going to give you a little overview about the MentorAbility program. If you haven't listened before, welcome. And we're going to be talking about this fantastic program that's available to create matches between folks with a variety of disabilities and industry connections. I wanted to say network, but it's a really interesting program. We're going to get into that, what that means. But it provides the opportunity for youth who are looking to focus their skills and attention and discover which is a good fit for them. So I'm going to read a little bit about the MentorAbility program. It's a national initiative promoting employment of people who have a disability in communities throughout Canada. MentorAbility is a full or half-day mentoring experience for which job seekers who have a disability are matched with individual mentors to explore career opportunities. Provincial hubs help local community coordinators develop a network of collaborative organizations that will match job seekers, who are referred to as protégés, with employers, who are mentors, and facilitate mentoring experiences. Who can be a mentor? So this has got you intrigued and you're wondering if you can get involved. Here's a way. Any business leader interested in meeting a motivated job seeker who has a disability is welcome to become a mentor. Mentors are professionals with area businesses who can dedicate a full or half day to meet with their protégé. MentorAbility gives employers an opportunity to recognize talent and potential, tap into a pool of potential future employees, demonstrate community leadership, and increase employment opportunities for people who have a disability. Employers can get involved by sharing the benefits of mentorship and encouraging their teams to be mentors. Who can be a protégé? Job seekers who have self-identified disability are welcome to submit applications to their local coordinators who will work to facilitate placement opportunities. The only requirement for participating is having a strong, genuine desire to work in the community. Now, Brittany and Kim are joining me today, and Spero Careers Canada is also a local coordinator. So PPRC and Youth Culture work with MentorAbility to deliver this program. If you're interested in becoming a local coordinator, any individual or organization interested in increasing employment opportunities for people who have a disability is welcome to apply. So you can either contact one of the three of us, which we can get to later, or you can visit the Odin site. Odin has their MentorAbility page. March of Dimes is also involved in delivering this for the province of Ontario, and they have information on the MentorAbility program on their website. So we're going to jump into Brittany's story, and I'm going to introduce her, and then I'm going to let her tell her story, which is amazing. So Brittany has her Master's of Social Work, which she got through Carleton University, and joined the Performance Plus team in 2015. She is a counselor, resume strategist, and is involved in the mentorships program. And the organization began the MentorAbility good grief, this is my COVID brain, program in July 2020, and then had their official launch in September 2020. And she's also a consultant with clients that come in seeking the services that PPRC offer. So far, which is really amazing, you've had more than 10 matches in a year, which during a pandemic, kudos. And I'm going to jump in and leave it over to you, because you were sharing some really amazing benefits that you've seen happen with the protégés that have been coming to you through the MentorAbility program.
Yes, and so the number of matches that we have made have been through various different disciplines or fields of work. Um, and so really the benefits that we've seen so far include a really good boost in confidence for clients with disabilities to sort of explore, what a particular field or a job would look like without necessarily having to commit to the paid employment aspect to kind of get their feet wet. Um, the ability to actually meet somebody for a day or a half a day in the lived life of somebody who does that job, and to be able to really think about what questions it is that they want and need to ask of that person, whether it is to get a sense of the job, the accommodations they may need to do that job, or how to, integrate that into their future planning for their career. It's really been very valuable in
Mhm.
the last almost year that we've successfully piloted the program at Performance Plus.
And one thing that you had mentioned is that it offers the opportunity. There was two things actually. One was to narrow the focus. I think everybody comes out of school wondering what the heck they're going to do, which can become overwhelming, especially if you're dealing with a disability on top of having to figure out what to do with one portion of your life anyway. Could you speak a little bit to how that's helped the proteges that you've seen come into the program? Has it?
Yes, because when we work with our job seekers, we really do usually promote that they try to have a career focus or one or two that are very closely related to sort of explore and to see what it is that is actually available to them, obtainable to them, and what it is that they could see themselves doing over the longer term. We don't want to necessarily see a client have a job just for the sake of having paid employment. We really want to see that really good beneficial match to them where they could see themselves longer term. So again, it's really been about the boosting confidence, the fact that somebody who has the necessary experience is taking the time to give them tips, tricks,
Insights.
suggestions and insights. Yes, it's a great word. And in the sense that the program also allows, for more than one match to be made with different fields or different employers. So again, they can have that experience without necessarily the full committal and then come back to work, with us and from a consultant perspective and to see, was it really what I thought it was going to be? Or was there something in there that I hadn't considered before? Or,
Mm-hmm.
maybe as a result of having a mentorship experience, perhaps they go in a completely different direction again.
Which is incredibly invaluable. And I shared with Brittany and Kim before we began that I got my postgraduate in corporate communications in 2012. And you'd think as a mature student, I would know what I was doing, but that was not the case. And did, I think, 13 or 14 informational interviews, which found incredibly helpful. So to know that this is happening and has such a benefit to your organization as well. You had mentioned that as part of your team, you have employer liaisons who regularly reach out and engage. And one thing that MentorAbility has helped you with, or your existing program has helped with the MentorAbility, is you're already doing disability awareness and talking to employers about inclusion. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, it's the fact that the talent pool that comprises people with disabilities is it's really under accessed, and a lot of the times what we find is that it's really the attitudes or the perceived barriers of hiring a person with a disability that we really can bring that information to employers, and by being able to spend some time mentoring a person with a disability, then we're also changing the attitudes of the employers who are looking for talent,
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps with the fact that they can reach to us as a provider to support training, onboarding, and basically the successful coordination of a mentorship or paid employment experience. They're much more likely, I find, to give us that chance to show what skill a person with disability can bring to the workforce.
So would you find that collaborating with the MentorAbility program has had a positive impact on your ability to connect with more employers and make a stronger case for hiring?
Yes, I mean, whether it's a partner that we have hosted paid employment with in the past, or if it's a brand new initiative that we're trying to form a connection in the first place, we are seeing a good deal of interest from employers, even in COVID sort of impacted environment. One of the actual benefits of being in a more virtual environment is that, you know, our employers and our matches don't even need to be within Ontario. We've had mentorship matches with as far away as other provinces into New Brunswick and
Oh, that's very
into
cool.
yeah, definitely. And some of those matches with the mentors are people with disabilities themselves. So, you know, we actually had the good fortune to have a protege matched with a mentor who had a very similar disability. And by having that experience of saying, yes, yes, I can do it because
That
this is
hope gets built.
that's how this person managed and this is where they are today. So now I can do it too.
That's what I find. I work in the autism community, as I shared before, and it's really inspiring when I have the opportunity. Like my son's 23 now. So, you know, we're kind of past the point of wondering what his future is going to look like. He just got accepted to the welding and fabrication program at Mohawk College. So like we're finally, I mean, to timestamp, we have mentioned COVID a few times. We are in the middle of a global pandemic, which is causing havoc across, you know, countries around the world. Canada seems to be cresting the wave, she says, hopefully, and coming out of it. But has it ever played havoc with, you know, future education goals and career paths? One of the cool things about Zoom as well, if you have somebody who has a social anxiety, for an example, this might be a great first step and much less of a barrier to meet somebody and chat and learn, and to be able to then form a connection based on a shared disability and a shared experience gives you that level of confidence that this is something that you can attain. That's fantastic.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm coming back to you, but we're going to hop for a second. And Kim Cooper is with us today, and I'm going to just read a bit of Kim's bio here. Kim Cooper works to build relationships and partnerships that align with empowering kids and youth to encourage innovation and support equity, diversity, and inclusion. She's a certified career strategist, the author of the book Girls in Science, Voices for Change, and was the former vice president of partnerships at First Robotics Canada, a charity encouraging kids and youth in STEM. Kim is the founder of the Girls in STEM Executive Advisory Council, and she's a frequent guest speaker and panelist at industry events and schools. Kim is an instructor in business and writing and a freelance writer focused on Indigenous culture and social justice. And youth culture offers a wide range of expertise and youth engagement, including reimagined internships that benefit youth and industry. Youth Insight will lead to enhanced policy and product development, new market segments, strategy for growth, and heightened awareness for engaging the next generation. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Elizabeth.
So tell us a little bit about how youth culture got started and what that's looking like.
Yeah. So I started youth culture during the pandemic, and it was because I was greatly concerned about this increased disconnect between young people and industry, and them missing out on career opportunities and professional development. In some cases in school, you know, no longer able to meet with a guidance counselor about career paths and such. So I launched youth culture at the end of the summer, and the point is to really bridge the gaps between young people and industry from that diversity and inclusion lens. So since then, we've launched all of our events virtually, of course, and have been able to engage a lot of young people from that diversity and inclusion lens. And that's how we really got involved with MentorAbility.
And so you started youth culture back in July 2020 and joined the MentorAbility Program in November 2020.
That's
Can
right.
you talk a little bit about the matches and what's been happening over the past, I guess, just less than a year?
Yeah. So it was always on my mind when I started my company that we wanted to get more involved with people, helping people with disabilities. And so when I discovered the MentorAbility program, I actually was just reaching out to Amy Widows to ask if I could be a mentor. And when she heard about what youth culture is doing, she said, well, you could be a volunteer site partner if you wanted, helping to match people, proteges, with mentors. And I had already, we have an extensive network of people in industry. So it was actually a nice fit so far. So we've had about four matches, and what we're finding is that we're getting more inquiries about what is that people want to know, what is this program about, and what sort of opportunities, what sort of who can they meet that's of interest to them. So our first match was with Ty Young, and he is he's very artistic, and he maybe will go into theater one day. And so we matched him with an art director, and it was amazing. And that's the thing about the mentors that we've been involved with so far, is that they want to go above and beyond. And if there isn't a job opportunity necessarily right now, they do want to, in general, just help beyond just that virtual mentorship. Maybe it's helping with the resume, or staying at least in contact when when things open up in person and that sort of thing. And then a lot of I've been a mentor for two proteges, and both of them we ended up taking on at Youth Culture. In one was for like a short time role to help us with our unconscious bias workshops, and another one, Jacob, he has Down syndrome, and he's a research assistant and inclusion ambassador for us. And it's been really great because we also can, we're trying to normalize disability, people with disabilities in the workplace, and show that they have meaningful roles within what we do at Youth Culture, and also get young people involved, and also increase confidence, that disability confidence. Elizabeth, you sent me that report by Skills Next, and talking about disability confidence. And so we're working on that, and how can we normalize people with disabilities in the workplace.
Cool. So you were mentioning some of the events and the connections that you have within various industries. And so one of the questions is, would you find that mentors are learning as well around diversity and inclusion? So there's that opportunity, as at PPRC, to liaise and educate. And has there been anything that's come out of conversations with mentors that, you've either broadened their knowledge or changed their mind or something like that?
I would say it's raising comfort levels, and also opening their eyes to a new sets of talents, and really untapped talent that they really didn't truly realize. So I feel like there is so much opportunity there to, and then that's what the MentorAbility program does so well, is that, in a short time commitment for the mentors and for the proteges as well, with it all being online right now, it's such a great way to just raise awareness and make those connections, because clearly it's making a difference as far as the number of placements go. So we're excited to continue it in the future with MentorAbility at Youth Culture.
Excellent. And have you had any particular feedback from any of the proteges that has struck you as important to share?
For the proteges, well, before we do the matchup with the proteges, we have a meetup before, and we kind of go through that bit of a practice session. So I think that first reaction, there's that real nervousness of not knowing what to expect, but with having the pre-session, we can get some of those nerves out, so that by the time that they have the actual meetup, that they feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of that, their confidence goes up a little bit, and then they're really proud, right? If they asked certain questions that they were hoping, or, you know, if a response was really exciting for them to hear. So I have personally seen how confidence levels increase just after that experience of the meetup.
Because I wonder, you know, I think we all go through this when we're finding our first jobs and we're getting into the working world, that we always think that an interview is going to be 600% worse than it ever is. And I know one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, the person behind the table has sat where you are. They know that coming into an interview is challenging. They know that it can be a difficult thing. And it's really cool to hear from both of you that the skills and confidence that are created through the MentorAbility Program collaboration are going to spill over into so many other areas of somebody's life. And not only for the proteges who benefit from obviously the experience and insights of the mentors, but I think the mentors themselves. You know, you had mentioned, Kim, and I think actually you both mentioned about the biases that we can run into with employers just from lack of knowledge, nothing else. And that higher level of confidence in actively seeking to, you know, hire from the talent pool that is normally overlooked. And that's one of the chief goals of the MentorAbility Program, is that there is a lack of understanding and a lack of awareness of this massively talented amount of people. I say I focus on the autism community, and there's an 85% unemployment rate within the autism community. That's entirely unnecessary. And I can't wait to get it. We're not at a position yet, although you've just given me a couple of ideas of matches I'm going to make for some people. So thank you for that. Get my brain going. So out of the MentorAbility Program, do you have any ideas right now of how that's going to move forward for you, for Brittany? You're continuing on right now?
I think right now, as a pilot program for us that is just coming to the 1 year mark, it really is about learning what it is that's beneficial to the clients, and kind of bringing away that the value added experience that the mentors and the mentees, proteges, really get out of the experience of meeting one another. So the aspect of the program that I would really like and would want to kind of reference is the fact that we usually get the stories and the feedback and the sort of just some comment basically on their experience, so that going forward we're able to tell other clients potentially, you know, this is what someone else got out of it, this is what you can expect, in the sense that, you know, we want to make sure that going forward, whether it's through more coordination or reaching out to more different industry partners than we have in the past. I think that's where we're going with it next, is really that expansion of the network, and kind of taking a look at what the virtual platforms can do for us, in terms of whether we're going to continue to do more of the matching, or if we're going to be able to get more interaction with the employers who are actually seeking and coming to us saying, I want to be a mentor. I think that's really where we're going with it.
You make a really valid point, because as much as you want to encourage people, you made a reference to introducing a protege to a mentor who had a shared disability.
Yes.
but the proteges can themselves become mentors to other people who are interested in doing the program through that ability to share the story. Because, well, if they can do it,
Well, and potentially so. And one of the other roles that I've had at Performance Plus is that myself, as a person with a mobility challenge, I've been through an education with social work, and I'm now working, related to that field.
Mhm.
But we also mentor students who are just coming out of community college and universities to enter that field as well.
Mhm.
So really, I feel like it's very much, you know, people with disabilities with the lived experience walking the talk that we're sort of relaying to our clients in terms of
Agreed.
looking for work and building your relationships.
And I think that's what, when Kim and I were chatting beforehand, part of the neat thing with youth culture is that exposing our youth to diversity and inclusion policies and understanding that impacts our leaders of future generations, whether it is, in owning your own company or being an employee or what have you. Employees have a lot of power as far as influencing the culture of an organization. And if you have somebody come in who's had a great experience through an organization like youth culture and learned about inclusion and diversity, they have an opportunity to make an impact on that organization that they might not have otherwise been able to do. And likewise, if you've had a positive experience as a protege through a program like MentorAbility, you yourself are more likely to become a mentor in future. And that cycle just continues in a very positive way, which is fantastic. I just actually, so you had mentioned that PPRC is celebrating an anniversary this year of 27 years.
27 years, it would have been in May, yes.
That's crazy. That is amazing. We need that kind of longevity because that amount of experience and insight within the disability space is hard to come by. And it's fantastic that Performance Plus, I can't say it all together. I have to tell you, it's a mouthful. Performance Plus Rehabilitative Care Incorporated is providing this. I just wanted to talk briefly, if I may, about the ability employment process. So this is what folks can expect at PPRC, one of the programs that's offered. Relationships are important to the team at PPRC. We spend approximately 4 years with each client from the employment planning stage through the 13 weeks of employment to the 33-month follow-up period in which we provide ongoing support, which is phenomenal. Like that is, I'm blowing my mind. Our employment process begins with a preliminary interview. We discuss each client's work history, interests, education, medical history, and disability adjustment issues. Most importantly, however, we focus on their abilities as opposed to their limitations. We determine a realistic employment goal that fits their abilities, their interests, and the types of opportunities that are available in the current marketplace. Now, this ties into what I wanted to talk to Kim about because you were chatting about the opportunity to create a career versus a job. And one of the things that we're working on is helping people to realize that your career doesn't have to happen to you. You can make your career but be what you want it to be. You have that choice versus falling into something or taking what you have to have, or given, I should say. And to that end, there's some services and programs that youth culture offers. Sorry, you can hear me flipping papers everywhere. I'm old fashioned that way. So you have Strategy and Insights, which is a combination of grassroots programs, video content, student surveys, youth takeovers, brand strategy, workshops, focus groups, and qualitative and quantitative research. There's digital experiences, online competitions, problem-solving challenges, gaming environments, online celebrations, award ceremonies, and special announcements. And then I have lost the tail end of this one. So I'm just going to come down here. Game-changing internships. And this is from short-term programs to long-term engagement. Experiences are new and innovative ways for industries to collaborate with youth. Okay. And so that again comes back to building those future leaders.
That's right.
And, hopefully influencing in a positive way.
That's right.
crossed.
And it's interesting, Elizabeth, when you were talking about getting the next generation of leaders engaged in the conversation about accessibility and inclusion. we've been hosting more of these roundtables with some of the proteges that we have ended up hiring, and so everyone's a part of that conversation. And one of the comments that I received from one of the students who joins us every week for this conversation, she said she had actually never had the opportunity to work and collaborate with someone who has a disability. And in this case, it's Down syndrome. And she said she was always a little bit nervous of not knowing how to act. And so she has shown up. We meet once a week. She shows up every single week, and you can tell that comfort level is getting there. At first she didn't really talk or anything, and but now she said she loves it, and she cares a lot about accessibility and inclusion, and she wants, whatever career path she takes, she wants to make sure that she, now she's passionate about supporting the Down syndrome community, and what more can she do there. But it's a great example that that'll stick with her now. And that's because really of the MentorAbility program, that we were able to extend it and involve more people in that conversation.
And that's what it's all about, right? Is creating that opportunity to create change, long-term change. I'm doing a lot of work with the First Nations right now. And one of the things I love is that they're always looking 7 generations ahead. And the decisions that they make for their communities and for their territories and what have you are always looking 7 generations ahead. And I think that's what PPRC and youth culture and any organization who gets involved in mentorability, please don't think of it as a short-term experience. This is something that could impact generations to come, because if you open up the eyes of our youth now, and if you open up the eyes of, folks with disabilities who have felt they had barriers that might not have been true barriers, that's then influencing their friends, their kids, their family. Like it's a ripple effect with the MentorAbility program that is beyond the proteges and the mentors, which is an amazing thing to see. We have a couple of minutes left, so I'm just going to jump over to websites and get everybody to go and take a look. If you're interested in learning more about Performance Plus Rehabilitative Care, you can visit pprc.ca, and it's an excellent website that's got a lot of opportunities on there to learn about the programs and how they help employers and how they help job seekers. It's website accessibility. Oh, so it's AOTA compliant.
Yes.
Very cool. And then if you're interested in learning more about the Youth Culture program, you can visit youthculture.com, and it's got on there the services and the teams and the advocates that are involved in delivering the programs and connecting to organizations. And you're focusing in Southern Ontario, Kim?
I'm in Burlington.
Focusing Halton?
Yeah, for now.
So that's Burlington, Milton, Oakville, Georgetown, and Halton Hills. And that's one of the good things too right now, that I think the pandemic has uncovered for us, that we can do so much through technology that we may have, decided that could only be done face to face. Not the case anymore, employers. People can work from home and be productive. And that is an opportunity with the MentorAbility program. If you have skills to share, you can make a very strong connection through Zoom. Please don't feel that you can't apply to be a protege or a mentor because the face-to-face opportunity might not be there. Zoom is still an excellent way to learn. And it can be a stepping stone to future conversations, which is what we're looking to build. If you want to find out more about the MentorAbility program, you can visit the odinetwork.com, and under initiatives is the MentorAbility program. They have some information there. And if you're interested in becoming a site coordinator or a mentor or a protege, it's all there to get in touch. So is there any last words, ladies?
No, I'm just so thankful to have had the opportunity to speak with both of you today in the conversation. I think it's really enriching to come away from a conversation with 2 like-minded individuals.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. I agree.
I agree as well. And a big thank you to Amy Widows and Lisa Livingston as well. They've really, they've embrace me and also youth culture as you know, as part of the community. And it's been wonderful getting to know everyone at the meetings, but then just opening my eyes personally to this amazing group of talented people. And then Elizabeth, I meet you out of nowhere, and you are one of a kind. And I love that.
That's frightening.
No.
You know, it is what it is. I appreciate that. Thank you. It was nice because Kim and I discovered that we live a couple of blocks apart, which is, you know, that's the incredible thing about this, is that today we're coming to you from Burlington, Ontario, and from Ottawa, Ontario. And I've been speaking to people up in, you know, Thunder Bay and out across, like, it's the MentorAbility program is, it's local, but it's not. It's there's a huge reach here, folks, and we have an opportunity to change Canada, and to change how people who live in the disability space succeed in their life. They deserve to have every opportunity to move into the career that is right for them. They deserve every opportunity to have the conversations and the connections and the network that builds in strength to support them, not only throughout their initial foray into working, but into the career they grow into enjoying. I'm on my 4th career, so things change. And once you have that strong foundation, that ability to move becomes so much easier. So please take an opportunity to visit the websites we've mentioned and learn more about what these fantastic organizations are delivering. And in particular, if you are interested in joining the MentorAbility program and you feel this is a right fit for your organization, Amy Widows and Lisa Livingston would be thrilled to hear from you. And we've got a lot of eager service providers to match you with some fantastic folks. So thank you very much for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. We will be coming to you again with the MentorAbility podcast through Across the Desk. My name is Elizabeth Plouffe, and I've had the privilege of Brittany Williston and Kim Cooper joining me today. And so we will wrap it up for today. And we say, bye.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
thank you.
Bye-bye.